Welcome to Soul Ties Karmic Recall with David Dimitri. Edutainment, expression for liberation, and all you vibrating higher consciousness. This is your portal, your doorway, your opportunity to see within yourself and view the world from within yourself instead of the world influencing you and telling you what things are. Let's look at things metaphysically, quantum physically, scientifically, mathematically, in combination with good common sense. Let's not just be sheeple. Let's not just be followers. Let's not just be being the leader addicts. Sometime listen and learn. Let's be real in the now. Let's not just think about the past and the future. Let's not define ourselves while we're debating. Let's learn and try to put forth positive energy and even welcome new information to our beliefs and our views. Therefore, our views and belief can grow and mutate. It's me, David Dimitri, with co-host
Allison.
And we're here to manifest some truths, accept, and give you a view on the world and things that might be different than it was. We're looking at the victim and the victimizers. We're looking at the poor and the rich. Let's not deal with the in-between right now because that exists. But that's another manipulation and another existence that exists that we can look at and view. But we're saying this to those of you that are looking at the United States drama. I'm in the United States of America, and hopefully people all over the world view this and care about this subject. Africans in America being killed openly and without remorse by the so-called law enforcement, who are supposed to be there to implement justice and ensure that justice and good fortune manifest. But it seems and it's obvious, black African lives are being destroyed. Not only black African lives, but young people are constantly and poor people are constantly being under attack, if not imprisoned, then being violated physically and destroyed and suffering. Now, is that what the United States of America is supposed to be about? Well, this is a theater and people are playing parts. So it's not an accident that in every state and all around the United States of America that black people and poor people specifically are being just destroyed and oppressed. Regardless of your justifications, regardless of your laws, regardless of your excuses, regardless of what the political society and the political establishment, regardless of what the legal establishment want to say, this is fact. This is happening, and it's being recorded now on cell phones. A black man invented the cell phone, by the way. It's being recorded by cell phones, and anybody can see. But like I said, there's different views in this theater, and there's people that say, "Hey, this is good." They're in the Bible Belt. They're down south, and they're saying, "Hey, this is good. We need black people in fear. We need them to be down." And then there's black people that say, "Hey, this is wrong. This is hurting me. That's my mama. She looks like my mama. She looks why am I?" So what you need to realize, there's a theater being played out. And so what's in question here in this conversation, we're going to pass it to Allison, is that the rich who are that, because of historical, it has to be somewhere in between that historically someone made it rich. And we know historically that it was through human violations, destruction of the environment, through deception, through means of fiat currency, through means of fiat banking and fiat economy, because economy is preserved, but nothing's being preserved. Everything's being destroyed. They're rich because slavery, which I should not have to mention because capitalism should be enough. But some people say, "Hey, slavery was good. Capitalism was good. My family is rich. I'm white. I'm Jewish. I'm even probably a black person, which happen to be subservient to the right white people in the countries." I don't care who you are. It's your duty as a human being to care with compassion and love. So you can't excuse yourself. Poor or rich, Hispanic, African, European, I don't care if you're not from the United States, human is human. The word debate seems to be gotten popular over the last 10 years. Comes from the school system, not the media. Everyone You didn't go to school for political science like me. You didn't get on a debate team like me. You didn't travel the world debating the planet like me. So you need to know that the word debate, like the news they're saying with this voice like this, like the word debate is used to make us think we're supposed to sit around and talk instead of do something.
Coming up with solutions. Right.
And so I'm going to ask you, is this really happening, or are we just supposed to be acting like, hey, this isn't really happening? Because that's what debating does. Conversation does that. Is the whole world democratic, or does it need to be action taken? Because war ain't democratic. Democracy has no place in war. Practically almost never does. You lose a war sitting around wondering what you lose a battle, let alone war, wondering what everybody's decision is. You need decisive leadership. And everybody need to be followers in the function of following they do to succeed. So get democracy out your mind. What's going on in this theater? What do you say? I talked for too long.
Well, there is definitely a divide. There are distinctions. There is a super rich class, victimizers, and there are victims and poor people. That is clear, and I don't think that's anything someone can just ignore, because it is there. There are people that are trillionaires, and there are people that don't have a penny to their name, a place to stay, a pot to piss in even. It's definitely going on, and it's definitely real. And shout out to the people that do come here from other countries that don't care about what's going on with black people being victimized. Them and their lineage is the reason why you're even able to come here and have the resources that you're getting. A lot of those resources, if this government in the United States was fair, would be going to benefit the people that work their asses to death for those things that you're getting. So you should definitely care. Even just being another human, you should care about what's going on. I think the propaganda that's going around is trying to get people desensitized to not care about poor people. Before they were showing all the black people getting shot, they were showing all those poor and homeless people being beat by not even cops, mostly by just civilians being beat to death. And after that, started showing all the black people being beat, not only being beat, but killed on camera, in public, people knowing that it's wrong. And you can see that it's wrong. Anybody with two eyes and a heart can see that, you know, a person getting choked out that's not resisting arrest, that person that's choking them is wrong. Cop or not a cop, that person's wrong. Just because you have a badge, you don't have the right to kill someone because you're afraid. So that distinction between the victims and victimizers, that does exist. And I think that people that want to ignore that, I think they're the ones that are going to take the most fault from the situation because they don't believe that it's there. So when something hits them from either side, they're not going to know what to do. They're going to keep trying to perpetuate whatever's going on, and that's not going to work. They're going to end up being destroyed, I feel.
Wow. Stay tuned. Time for an advert break. Soul Ties Karmic Recall with David Dimitri. STKR, Ecstasy, Reality, and Overcoming. Lifestyle Guidance. With David Dimitri. Obtain the book at SoulTiesKarmicRecall.com. Now back to the STKR show. We have to deal with whether or not it's really happening. You see, nihilism is kicked in because of media. Not reality is kicked in because of media. And so this is the question. If you're in the theater, you're on stage and you're playing, you're going to have a different view of any stimuli than the other players and actors.
And even the audience.
And the audience. So what's going on, what you need to realize is a white person sees it different from a black person. A middle class white person sees it different from a rich white person. A poor white person sees it different from a rich white person. A black poor person sees it different from a rich black person. There's a lot of factors, so interpretation really matters. With that in mind, are these killings real?
I think the killings are real. I mean, people are actually being killed, and from what I've seen, their families are really hurt by this and trying to get some sort of justice from their son, daughter, or family member being killed. I know that the killings, they are creating a lot of buzz, and they should, because people are being shot in broad daylight by cops, and that's scary. But it seems like people are getting more riled up about the fact that something's happening, because it's not like it, you know, wasn't happening before. It was definitely happening before. Was it Rodney King?
Right.
It's been happening.
And that's what's going on. To me, at the end of this theatrical play going on this planet, this flesh, which should not matter. White people, any color should be able to be cool.
Right.
It has to be planets where everybody is cool. But these people that made this planet like this. And so I wanted to say that that's the physics macro experience. But let's look at a possible, on this theatrical planet, a possible quantum physical influence. Could there be benevolent axionic wave function entities warring with axionic wave function malevolent entities? Benevolent are positive, malevolent are negative. Benevolent are for the good, malevolent is for the destruction. Could that be true?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely can be true that, you know, those two forces are warring against each other, because even those comparisons that you made, that's going on everywhere. Even in the Middle East, was it the Sunnis and the Shiites? ISIS and the civilians, you would say, there is going on everywhere. So I think there is a battle going on that's higher than us through axionic beings that are fighting. I think, in my opinion, I think the benevolent side is having a harder time because the people that represent that force aren't able to connect anymore. There's so many distractions and people aren't really able to tap into that and basically have, you know, collective thought, you know, enforcing and helping that, you know, benevolent force. And unfortunately, I think that's something that the victimizers or the so-called investor class, political class, the 1%, whatever you want to call it, I think that's something that they do have. They do have collective thought, and I think that's what makes them powerful. They all can sit down, even if they hate each other's guts, to sit down and agree that we need to make sure that these people fight, even though they're brother and sister, even though they're related, even though they live together forever in this specific area and got along. We're going to make them fight. Why? Because we can make money that way. We can get one person to work the other ones to death in the mines, on the fields, producing whatever natural product they have. We can get them to wipe the other people out so that they'll feel powerful and they'll enforce, you know, the political rules and doctrines that we want, you know, so that they'll be in debt to us and we'll forever and ever be able to extrude resources from them. So I think there is definitely a battle, and you know, and I think that's part of this world. There's duality. You can't have good without knowing what the evil is, and you can't really have rich without having something to compare it with, which would be poor.
Wow.
So what I'm trying to tell you is we playing finite games because it's lazy and easy. We don't realize they way ahead. They ain't even thinking about when all that science and technology is so they can escape the reality that they are quarantined in. And they have forced their quarantine onto us. But there was no beginning. And there is no end.
I would tell you the ultimate, which is why we'll be free. I'm going to tell her, but not you. But there's a reason why not. Yet, you should know you're not living in your own infinite game. So going back and finding out your history doesn't solve the problem only. That's just one part of the solution. As long as you don't have all the parts of the solution to that problem that has many causes, you're going to keep on having a problem. So you need to start using this language and stop being finite players and start being infinite players. I'll help y'all more out on that level. There's a lot more to teach you. Open to questions and comments. Sister Allison?
Yep. Also, if you check out the website, soultieskarmicrecall.com, we do have a tutorial on there from the Metaphysical Life Coaching and Guidance Counseling. It is on vampirism. And if you're listening, you've heard us use that word a couple of different times in this tutorial. It's going to discuss what vampirism is, what types of people do this, how can you spot a vampire, and most importantly, how can you combat and protect yourself from a person that's vampiring you or from an entity that's vampiring you. And more importantly enough, how to not become one yourself from being a victim of a vampire.
Nice. Give thanks. Like she said, go to soultieskarmicrecall.com. Check it out. I'm David Dimitri, the Metaphysical Life Coaching and Guidance Counselor, lead practitioner, creator, and host. With the co-host, Allison, here in Soul Ties Karmic Recall. I'm also the author of Soul Ties Karmic Recall book series, which can also be accessed at soultieskarmicrecall.com. Not just our website, but our portal. So is this Soul Ties Karmic Recall webcast. It's a portal for you to channel because you get to comment, you get to like or dislike, you get to express, you get to give input, you get to express yourself through video blogs on Soul Ties Karmic Recall YouTube channel. You also get to express. These talks are on that, and we're here for you. And like we said, get with the program and know that the Metaphysical Life Coaching and Guidance Counseling video tutorials are explained on the website. There's also a spiritual consciousness Metaphysical Life Coaching and Guidance Counseling video tutorial on spiritual consciousness, which helps equip you with knowledge of self, get you the knowledge of reality on the metaphysical and quantum physical level, or the spiritual level that we spoke of. We're here for you. We're open to all, and we will respond with video. And if you have any suggestions or any specific things you would like us to talk about, you can inbox. Please don't outbox that. Don't put that on the wall. Any specific questions you want to ask, any business links, you can promote it on the wall. But if you have any business deals you want to, please deal with that in your own inboxes and deal with that with us within the inboxes on the social media. We appreciate you. Remember Soul Ties Karmic Recall on YouTube.com. Remember David Dimitri PUD on Facebook, and the Soul Ties Karmic Recall group in Facebook, and check out the Prime Up Developmentals page on Facebook under the David Dimitri PUD. That's for Prime Up Developmentals. That's David Dimitri PUD on Facebook. That's me. Check us out. Benevolence. Thank you for watching the Soul Ties Karmic Recall episodes. So tune in for part 2 of the talk. And remember, check for more on YouTube at Soul Ties Karmic Recall. And go to soultieskarmicrecall.com for the book series and MLCGC video tutorials.